At the beginning of the movie, we see the main character of the movie named Aladine, who was the king of a country named Wadia in Africa. The entire world feared him because his army included an extremely dangerous woman named Tabuzbai, who wielded 2 deadly weapons. Aladine owned a total of 20 gold medals because he would shoot his competitors in contests and win all the matches himself. One day he was addressing his people where he announced, "We will develop nuclear weapons in just 2 months and they will be used for the happiness and peace of the nation." However, as soon as he said this, he burst into laughter, for in reality, he intended to use these weapons to attack other countries. Later, he visited his nuclear research center where his uncle Tamir greeted him by sniffing the sweat off his body. The nuclear scientist Nadal then presented a missile he had developed. Aladine was displeased because the missile's tip wasn't sharp. Aladine said, "This doesn't look scary at all. If it were sharp, it would look more intimidating. The enemies will laugh at us upon seeing this." Nadal tried hard to explain that whether the missile was sharp or blunt made no difference in its functionality, but an enraged Aladine ordered his head to kill him simply because the missile wasn't sharp. Later, Aladine returned to his palace in his golden car. Upon arriving at the palace, as soon as he stepped out of the car, someone shot him. However, it was later revealed that the person who was killed wasn't Aladine, but someone who looked like him. Aladine never went outside the palace himself. He always sent duplicate because many people were after his life. Aladine then instructed his uncle Tamir to find a new duplicate for him. After Aladine left, Tamir made a phone call, revealing that they had killed the wrong person. In reality, Tamir himself wanted to have Aladine killed so that he could become the king of the palace. Next, we see a man at the edge of a desert who looked exactly like Aladine. As a result, they captured him and brought him before Aladine. Tamir ordered that he be transformed to look exactly like Aladine. Later at night, we see Aladine is playing with women. After playing, he takes a photo with them and stick it on his wall. So far, Aladine had played with 1,100 women, but he was shocked to discover that one of them was actually a man. The story takes a dramatic turn as the whole country rises up against Aladine, seeking to overthrow him as king. They were running a campaign against Aladine, so Aladine decided to head to America himself. One night, while Aladine was asleep, a man kidnapped him and began torturing him, even burning his royal beard to make him unrecognizable. To Aladine's shock, the culprit turned out to be none other than the personal bodyguard hired by his uncle Tamir. This bodyguard was extremely ruthless. However, during the chaos, the bodyguard accidentally set himself on fire. Aladine seizes the opportunity and escapes, as he had to testify against Wadia that day. He quickly reaches the Supreme Court and tells a police officer, "Hello, I am Admiral General Aladine. I need to testify, so let me in." Just then, he notices his uncle Tamir bringing Aladine's duplicate, disguised as the real Aladine, into the court. Seeing this, Aladine realizes that it's all part of Tamir's conspiracy. Meanwhile, the fake Aladine, under Tamir's orders, announces, "From today, Wadia is completely independent, and 3 days from now, I will appoint Tamir Bujiawala as the new president of Wadia." Hearing this, the real Aladine becomes furious. Soon after, the police attack him, but a woman rescues him and takes him away. The woman assumes Aladine is just an ordinary person from Wadia who has come to oppose the real Aladine. She introduces herself as Zoe, and, upon asking his name, Aladine lies and says his name is Allison, thinking even his father wouldn't recognize him in such a situation. Zoe then takes Aladine to her general store, where she runs an organic fruits and vegetable shop. But Aladine being Aladine, he refuses to behave like an ordinary person. He treats everyone there as if they were his servants. He tells them, "Can you bring me 100 child slaves by 5 p.m. today?" Zoe tries to explain, "You shouldn't talk to others like that." But Aladine isn't one to listen. In the meantime, Tamir arranged 4 women for fake Aladine and went to another room, but, like a shepherd unaccustomed to luxury, he was struggling to play with women. Meanwhile, the real Aladine wanders around, seeking help from people, but no one believes he is the real Aladine. Then he notices a phone shop where he spots nuclear Nadal. Aladine is astonished because he thought Nadal had died the day he made the missile round instead of sharp. Aladine follows Nadal and sees him enter a restaurant. Aladine also enters the restaurant and notices that the entire place is decorated with pictures of him. Realizing that everyone there were the very people he had ordered to be killed, Aladine becomes alarmed. The shopkeeper grows suspicious of him, and the entire group surrounds him, ready to finish him off. Just then, Nadal arrives and tells everyone, "Don't kill him. He is my distant relative who has come from Uganda to meet me." Hearing this, they let him go. Nadal then explains to Aladine, "The people you had ordered to be killed are all living here because Uncle Tamir secretly exiled us from the country to hide us from you. That's why we are still alive." Aladine asks Nadal to help him regain his power. Nadal agrees, but on the condition that Aladine will let him create a round missile. They then head to the hotel where the fake Aladine is staying. Nadal says, "His security is very tight. We need to find a way to get inside." Just then, Aladine notices Zoe, who is catering at the hotel. Nadal points out, "She has a pass to get inside. You'll need to work with her to get one for yourself." Aladine approaches Zoe feigning regret and apologizes, asking her to let him work at the shop again. Possibly liking him, Zoe agrees. Aladine resumes working at the shop, but his old mischievous antics surface. One day Nadal calls him to discuss a plan. Nadal explains, "We will jump from this plane onto the hotel roof where the fake Aladine is staying." They board a helicopter, but Aladine's constant chatter and mischief don't stop. Mistakenly, the police arrest him, thinking he's a terrorist. Shortly afterward, Zoe arrives and tells the police he is my co-worker who works at my shop. Zoe even argues with the police for him, which makes Aladine happy as it's the first time someone has stood up for him. From the next day, Aladine starts working diligently, which also makes Zoe happy. However, Uncle Tamir learns that Aladine is planning something with Nadal. He orders Tarbuz Bai to kill Aladine. Later, we see Aladine working peacefully when he hears a noise outside and goes to check. Suddenly, Tarbuz Bai appears from behind and attacks him with her deadly weapons. Aladine tries hard to convince her that he is the real king, but Tarbuz Bai refuses to listen and continues attacking him. Finally, Aladine fights back and pushes Tarbuz Bai into a tub, causing her to fall unconscious. The next day, Zoe brings a very wealthy client to the store. However, the inside of the store was completely disorganized. Seeing this mess, the client quickly leaves, which makes Zoe very upset. Aladine promises her, "Don't worry, I'll fix everything." The following day, Aladine forces a food inspector to give the store a good grade by kidnapping the inspector's children. He also uses electric shocks to encourage customers to shop more. Within a few days, the store becomes bustling again, and Zoe is overjoyed to see it. Later, Nadal calls Aladine and informs him, "I've arranged your beard." The next day, they attend Osama bin Laden's funeral. Their plan was to steal Osama's beard. Aladine locks the gate, and Nadal starts cutting Osama's beard. However, the security guards quickly realize what's happening. In the rush, Nadal ends up taking Osama's entire head instead of just his beard. With the beard acquired, Aladine is extremely happy. He shares his joy with Zoe, but then Zoe tells him, "I think I might be falling in love with you." Aladine too had fallen for her, so he decides to stop lying. He confesses to Zoe, "I am not Alison. I am Aladine, the king of Wadia." Zoe is shocked upon hearing this and begins to cry. She says to Aladine, "You only used me to get inside the hotel. You're a terrible person. I don't even want to see your face." Heartbroken, Aladine cannot say a word and silently leaves. Wandering aimlessly in despair, he sees on a monitor that the entire country of Wadia is celebrating the news of his abdication and hurling insults at him. This sight deeply hurts Aladine. He decides to jump off a bridge to end his life. Just as he prepares to jump, Nadal arrives and stops him. Nadal tells him, "You can't die like this. You are the world's last dictator. You still have many countries to loot." Inspired by Nadal's words, Aladine regains his motivation. They begin planning how to enter the hotel. The next day, we see Uncle Tamir preparing to become the president. Meanwhile, Nadal constructs a roping machine. Using the machine, Aladine effortlessly enters the hotel from another building and quickly confronts the fake Aladine. Just then, Tamir arrives. Seeing Tamir, Aladine starts pretending to be the fake Aladine. As he is about to sign the document, he suddenly tears it apart. This leaves Uncle Tamir utterly shocked. Aladine then reveals everything to everyone, saying, "This was all Tamir's plan to remove me from the throne. But Wadia will always have a dictator." Everyone is left speechless by his declaration. At that moment, Aladine notices Zoe, who is crying after hearing his words. Seeing her cry, Aladine has a change of heart. He announces, "From now on, Wadia will be a free country and its new leader will be chosen through elections." Hearing this, Zoe is overjoyed and runs to kiss Aladine. A few days pass and elections are held in Wadia to choose a new leader. But does Aladine really change? Not at all. He uses a tank to scare people into voting for him. As a result, He wins 98% of the votes and becomes Wadia's ruler once again. And with this, the movie comes to an end. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to give the video a like.